You're listening to audio from the Decidedly podcast. For more information, find us on Instagram at Decidedly Podcast.
Art is what makes this world beautiful. Art, whether it's a painting, a film, a portrait, a sculpture, a drawing, a poem, a song, it brings beauty into our world. And today I'm really excited to be able to talk to Buddy Wakefield, an actor, writer, producer, and 3-time world champion spoken word artist. He is one of my absolute favorite poets, and I think one of the most, if not the most, significant American poet of our modern era. He's been featured on BBC, HBO's Def Poetry Jam, ABC Radio National. In 2004, he won the first individual World Poetry Slam finals, and then he went on next year to defend his title and win again. Buddy has been all over the world sharing his art, from Amsterdam to Spain to Singapore to Zimbabwe. He was the inaugural author released on Right Bloody Publishing and an original board of directors member with Youth Speak Seattle. He's been published in dozens of books internationally, with work used to win multiple national collegiate debate and forensic competitions. His first short film, Farmly, directed by Jamie DeWolf, won Best of Texas at the Literally Short Film Fest and the USA Film Festival. Buddy has an air of calm about him and a really unique way of presenting his art to the world. That uniqueness comes off in our conversation that we had with Buddy today. If you haven't heard of him, check out his work, listen to a piece, and then come back for this conversation. I'm Sanger Smith, and this is Decidedly.
Well, Sanger, if that is your name.
That's what they call me.
Okay, welcome to my show.
Thank you. I suppose you have a list of questions for me.
I do.
I have a list of questions for you. How did you end up in Portugal?
Well, God, that's a safe place for a big change, I think. Not accident. You know, here's the deal. Something in my some voice back in the layers was just looking out for me. In my own way of being, my best friend moved here with his wife and kids. One of my closest friends, and told the rest of us about his dream to move his family out here and for all of his friends to have a place to come if they wanted to, and we could get old and retire, and in a beautiful place where the cost of living is right and the pace is good and there's 3-hour lunches and it's safe. It's really safe, and that's something I haven't experienced a lot of in this life. So usually when you tell me the word safe, I'm all in. And I am the least tied to things in terms of a partner or responsibilities, and I can work from anywhere. I mean, I can't act in LA here, so that's a thing that's why I've kept my place in LA for now and subletting it. But otherwise, I just wanted to keep the momentum going for this great idea he had of all of us being in Porto, Portugal, because when I was in my 20s, I dreamed up this tiny home situation before tiny homes blew up. Every time I have an invention, Sanger, if I say anything out loud, the whole world finds out about it. And I just can't stand it.
Next time, just email it to me and we'll work on it privately.
Okay. Starting with the cereal bar. I had a dream of opening a cereal bar. Anyways. So I had this dream of having this little tiny home community before tiny homes were even a thing. But it was it was 8 little houses, and then there was a big octagon house in the middle. I've always been slightly obsessed with cephalopods anyways. And have we started the show yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Good, then there's no elongated weird intro. So I can keep talking.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. And so in the middle of these 8 tiny homes was going to be a big octagon house where everyone came together for, Sunday meals and poker night and what have yous, whatever have yous. And so John, my buddy who moved here, just sort of got a jump start on the reality of actually in those tiny homes, we're going to be all of my closest friends, so we could all get old together and do our thing. And him moving here and having his little dream seemed more realistic to act on. So that's why I'm in Porto, keeping the momentum going for a group of friends 30 years old or 30 years long, and who are absolutely in love with each other and have had incredible lives together and just want to keep it going.
That's amazing. How long have you guys been doing that?
Been living.
So when did you move? This was a couple years ago? Or?
No, this is all new. I've been here 9 months. Today I've moved. This is my old place that I'm sitting in. I just moved to my new place today. I came here for make sure the wireless was dependable. But we're still all, he's got a new home here and I'm still working on residency, and I'm 9 months in.
I imagine you would have to be
start next week.
You would have to be really detached to live a life as a traveling poet. You would have to be detached from many things.
You're telling me.
I can only imagine.
I mean, it's been an enviable career in terms of poetry paid for me to see the world, but it has been there's been a large detachment, and like friends getting married and families and everything whizzing by while this very strange reality was unfolding before me. And now back to the safety, just looking to stay still, play it safe. Yeah. It has been a vulnerable existence.
How much of that were you aware? How much of that lifestyle were you aware of when you decided that that's what you wanted to do? I would imagine at some point you chose, okay, I'm going to leave the normal 9-to-5 life and make writing full-time my career. That had to have been a big leap.
You make it sound so professional.
Well, I'm wearing a suit, buddy.
You sound like a practical thinker. Like a practical thinker made these decisions.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to have a practical answer.
There was no that boy was not practical. I was working as the executive assistant at a biomedical firm in Gig Harbor, Washington. The guy I was working for was really dishonest in the sickest of ways, in terms of stealing gobs of money from great people. I just couldn't do it. I let the people know, and then was my best buddy from college. His dad owned a casino nearby, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll just be a dealer. And at that, it was sort of the start when I was having some success on stage with poetry, and I knew I had something, and so I just said F it, and I moved into a car for 2 years, and 2 years and 4 months, and traveled poetry venues, did the math, was doing all right, not having to pay rent and making, like I was doing, much better than the minimum wage, or I was doing all right for myself. And one thing just kept leading to another. And I don't think I just was continually playing into my highest excitement with zero expectations of the outcome.
It seems like the people who achieve true success all have a similar story. It may not always be as dramatic as I lived in a car for 2 years, but I don't see a whole lot of people that get into something for the money and then have it work out really well for themselves. A lot of people get into something because it's their passion, and then whatever other rewards of success come later.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been the blessing, and the curse is the passion part. I was just thinking about this recently. I had a show in San Luis Obispo years ago. This is like 12 years ago, and I wanted nothing more to do with passion. I was at a meditation center, and the guy at the Vipassana Center in Goenka said something about like he was talking about not generating craving and aversion. And he was naming all of these things that people can generally relate to being averse to. And within all of these things he was listing passion. He was like, don't generate any passion right now. And passion has always been presented to us in this narrative as this amazing thing you must have. And it resonated so deeply that it was a thing I did not must have anymore. that it was causing just as much unsavory as it was savory. And so yeah, the passion definitely drove me to it, and it's also the thing that's driven me to settle away from it. I'm so much more interested in stability and routine at this point.
How much of that do you think is because you haven't had those things for so long?
The stability and routine. How much of it? Oh, well, a lot of it.
So I talk to people
greener, right?
I talk to people about their money, right? That's how I make a living, is to help people make decisions about their money. And
yeah. Let's talk about that, singer. Because I'm in a place where I would like to make some now. I've been a poet for 20 years.
Well, what I've found in my journey in this career is that the people who make the best decisions with their money understand what they're seeking to get out of life on a fundamental emotional level. First, they have to understand that first. And sometimes they'll say things like, I want safety or I want stability, like you've said. That's what I want, more than I want $100,000 or $1 million or a brand new house or I want to buy a boat. No, it's not those things. It's I want this feeling. And if we can understand what is the feeling that we want first, then everything else in life is just a tool to help us get that. And money is all it is a tool. It's some numbers and some commas, hopefully. And we can apply that to achieve safety, to achieve stability, or maybe it's to achieve, for some people it's to achieve status, for some people it's to achieve a feeling of freedom, which is a lot different than a feeling of safety. But I've found the people who can decide on that feeling first before they start to take action to move forward end up at a place they're a lot happier with. And what's interesting when you talk about passion, I've found that positive emotions can be just as detracting from that aim as any negative emotion. And so I would often tell clients like, yeah, excitement is good, but we can make really bad decisions when we're excited, just like we can make really bad decisions when we're afraid. And I've never heard someone say passion could have a negative outcome or a negative side effect. I think that it makes all the sense hearing you say it. I usually get called passionate about what I do, and I've always liked that. So what did you find when he spoke that to you and said, hey, it's something that you don't have to have? How did that thought process go? How did you realize that?
Well, it's relief, anytime that there's a witness, anytime I feel witnessed, there's a relief. I think it's what I provide, witnessing someone or being witnessed is fundamental to the infrastructure of healing. And that's why movies and music and writing and poetry and all of it is an art, visual or otherwise. It's just a way of witnessing. And when someone feels witnessed, there's a healing that begins to take place. I mean, that's how all the uprising in the US is happening right now, as people are finally being witnessed for who they are. And so when I heard passion not being promoted, and instead being checked.